Pete, I've heard something recently by you. It's called dopamine fasting. What the heck is that?
Well,
I thought dopamine.
I don't know. I don't know if happiness is necessarily correlated to dopamine. Isn't I
Dopamine
might
is
be
like
totally wrong
dopamine
here.
is like the happiness drug. Whenever you're
Well,
happy,
it's not a
dopamine comes
drug.
out.
It's not a drug. It's a
Neurotransmitter. All right, this is Bill Nye, the science guy. All right.
um. I might be totally wrong on this, but I think serotonin is what controls happiness.
I thought serotonin is like the sad one.
Serotonin
So
controls
yeah,
emotion. Am I correct?
yeah. I think no. I think they're both like go hand in hand, but dopamine is like the one that's in charge of addictions and stuff.
No, it is. Yeah, serotonin. I'm correct. Serotonin is the happy chemical.
Then what's dopamine?
It's the pleasure
The
one.
pleasure.
It's so basically anything that gives you pleasure. That's what dopamine. Like dopamine just floods your brain.
And
Like
what's
let's say
serotonin? So
it's the happy chemical. So anything that makes you happy.
all right, so
You
go
know.
get a bottle of some serotonin and inject it straight into your brain, and bada boom.
Definitely not.
That's the shortcut.
Bada bing, bada boom. Yeah,
Easy peasy.
lemon squeezy. No, but
So
anyways, dopamine fasting. So I discovered this actually a few months ago, but I had no idea what it was. I was like, "Whoa, this is interesting." And typically, this is not the type of thing you want to do if you've got like a lot of stuff going on in your life because it's basically for one full day, you go and just do nothing. You literally you detach yourself from technology completely. You you can't check your phone, you can't check your laptop. Don't talk to people in any digital way. Like erase your digital footprint for one day essentially. And then on the other side, don't do anything or additionally don't do anything that's actually pleasurable in any way, shape, or form. So no eating. Yeah, you can't eat a whole day. Only drink water.
what if you're hungry?
Oh, sad story. You can't. I guess moderate exercise is okay, but not enough to where you'll release endorphins into your head. Because you know what endorphins are. It's like
Adrenaline.
like have you heard of runner's high?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Isn't that like just adrenaline?
I don't know for sure. I'm no doctor,
It's
but
weird to call it high because that's not how I feel. I just feel like you feel exhausted for like a long time, and then at some point it just gets easier, like all of a sudden, where you can like actually like breathe relatively easier than me when I'm hyperventilating my fat behind when I'm running a few miles, and it feels good, but like I don't feel high coming
no.
from someone who's never been high.
I mean, it's just definitely it's a weird
It's
feeling.
just
It's
an
just it
expression.
just feels really good.
Yeah.
I don't know how to explain it. I've actually had it before, but we'll talk about that right after. So yeah, you don't do anything for a full day. Like the only things you're really allowed to do, um, are meditate, drink water, um, and you can't read, obviously. Can't do, for lack of better terms, any ways of pleasuring yourself. I think the audience can figure that
Well,
one
well
out.
put.
um, yeah, it's essentially you were just kind of suffering for a day in a way. Like you're just not allowing yourself to be pleasured in any way.
Why the heck
And
would I want to do that, Pete? It sounds
well,
stupid.
I'm glad you asked because it actually does sound incredibly stupid, but it has a pretty profound effect. So
Really?
you're starving yourself of dopamine
Yes.
for the purpose of kind of resetting like your whole system. So I actually did one I think about a month and a half ago. Um and all I did that whole day, I meditated a little bit. Pretty big on meditation actually. Started doing it a lot lately. I kind of walked around, just enjoyed a little bit of nature. I actually walked about a mile and a half to a really quiet place under a tree, meditated there for like
You're
an
allowed to
hour.
walk?
Well, I mean, what else is there to do? You're just gonna sit down and stare at the ceiling the whole time?
That's what I envisioned when you were describing it.
Well, no, you can do stuff that doesn't allow you to like what is pleasurable about walking necessarily?
The sight,
I mean,
nature. It's pretty cool.
I mean, this is more so just trying to get you away from technology, and
Okay.
just kind of you're just like, I mean, if you're a frequent social media user, for instance, this would be pretty useful for you. Or if you play video games all day every day and you don't have anything else to do in your life, or if you've been like very unmotivated, very lethargic, very lazy, this would be like a good hard reset, essentially.
Okay.
And the reason why is, so not only did I that day, not only did I not eat, not give myself any like pleasure of any sort, no food, no, just water, meditation. I also wrote a lot that day. So I did the whole physical part of it is the pleasure part, but the whole emotional, spiritual part is another thing in and of itself. And what I did was I basically wrote down like 5 questions, because I watched this YouTube video and it was actually a pretty good video, because it gave me a couple questions that I could think about throughout that day, and I just kind of journaled down answers to those questions, and it was mostly very self-reflective uh, questions, just asking you about yourself and what you're feeling, what sensations. So, what pain am I feeling? Where is it? Why do I feel it? How can I fix it? What's the best case scenario if this pain persists, and what's the worst case scenario if it persists?
Okay, what am I feeling? Hungry. Best solution, eat something.
Well,
If it
yeah.
persists, eat more.
Yeah, basically. I mean, that's one answer
Brilliant,
to it.
brilliant. It's
But
like hitting yourself in the head with a hammer and being like, "What is the pain you're feeling? Headache. How do you think to stop it? Stop hitting yourself in the head. What if it persists? Put the hammer down, you stupid idiot."
I mean, you're not wrong. But in this case, it's a little more profound, because you want to think about all the stuff that's like bothering you in your life. Like, um, let's say you've been really unmotivated because of work or because of school, whatever it is. If you start thinking about it, yeah, it's unpleasant, and it can bring back some either bad memories you've had, but or I guess just unpleasant experiences. But when you start thinking about it and then you just reflect on yourself, um, I think it's pretty enlightening. I think you can learn a lot about yourself. And I mean, we kind of talked about it last week, but knowing about yourself is one way to achieve like self mastery, of course.
In our opinions.
In our opinion, yeah, of course. Um, what is your take on it?
On what?
On
Dopamine
on
fasting?
self reflection, I guess.
We already talked about that last week. It's
Yeah, that's
fine.
fair. It's fine. It's
We
okay.
established I
Doesn't
have
care.
multiple personality disorder,
You?
according to Pete.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
it's possible.
it's fine. I hold them back from killing you, my other personalities. So don't worry about it.
Well, I'm glad that you're so generous.
Yeah.
So, anyways,
Um,
yeah,
I read somewhere about dopamine fasting after you sent me that link that the reason to do it is to, like, if you're on social media all the time, you're kind of dulled from dopamine, or it's like a drug addiction essentially. Like, if you do
Yeah.
a drug for like, if you keep doing a drug, eventually the effect wears off and you have to do more of the drug to get the same
Exactly.
effect. So if you're on social media all the time, what ends up happening is now you need to be on social media. You eventually get, let's say you are on social media 1 hour a day. Eventually you get used to it. Your brain is not giving you the same pleasure 1 hour a day used to give you. So then you do 2 hours and then 3 hours, and before you know it, you're staying up all night on social media.
Basically.
So when you dopamine fast, it basically helps put your mind into better context as to what like makes you happy, and you don't need to waste your whole life pursuing dopamine.
Rather, what gives you pleasure?
Pleasure.
Yeah. I think like the
What
one
did I say?
happy.
Did I actually?
Let's not conflate them.
Okay, fine. Pleasure.
Well, yeah, the way I see it, it's just a way to kind of help you, like I said before, give yourself a hard reset, you know? Because I know after that day, like I wrote a lot about what I was feeling, stuff like emotional things going through in my life, and like just taking the time to think about it all was really, really helpful, because, you know, like sometimes people are just moving at 100 miles per hour, or 1,000 miles per hour if you're like an investment banker or something. And they don't take like a second to just stop and evaluate. You know, they're just constantly chugging all the time, like just down the road, always nonstop. It's pretty toxic, you know?
How did they do that?
I mean, I funny enough, I'm kind of the same way, but I'm really big into self-reflection, so to be fair, I know when I need to stop and like take a step back and evaluate.
But why does it matter? Like, let's say instead of social media and video games, you're a workaholic and you're doing work instead, and that makes you happy.
Well,
You working on your website, me working on my game, me working on the audio, you working on the video, us creating the podcast. What if that's fun and pleasurable for us?
well, I think it depends on
It's not like we're
your
wasting
idea of
time.
productivity. Yeah, it just depends on your idea of productivity. So if you're doing stuff that is not productive for your life in general, then that's when you would want to do it. So let's say if you're a professional gamer and you're gaming every single day, like just practicing your craft, then obviously you don't need a dopamine fast to get yourself away from gaming.
No, yeah, yeah. For the record, every time me and him refer to like people who play video games, we're excluding esports since those are their occupations.
Yes, that's fair.
We're usually just referring to guys who play video games, and that's it. No,
Yeah.
no money.
Yeah.
If you're a Let's Player, go outside. It's better for you.
So, yeah, for me, I use it for productivity. I'm actually going to do another one in a few weeks because
You're busy.
I'm quite busy at the moment. 3 weeks. 3 weeks. We'll have it in 3 weeks.
What episode? This is episode 3, 3 weeks. Okay, join
6.
us in for episode 6 to see if he actually does it or not.
I will.